What's up, guys? Welcome to the weekly technicals for April 21st, 2019, and today's Easter, so happy Easter. But first things first, we're looking at the economic calendar for this upcoming week. And as you guys can see, for Monday, we don't really have anything going on in terms of news events. But when we get into Tuesday, we have some Australian dollar news right before London session, ideally, and that's at 9:30 p.m. And then Wednesday, we've got a little bit of Euro late London session and GBP late London session. And then for 10 a.m. on Wednesday, we've got a lot of dollar CAD news. So we've got the rate statement, overnight rate, monetary policy, BOC press conference. So we'll likely see a lot of volatility in the dollar CAD currency. So we'll go over that once we get into the charts. And we also have tentative news releases for the Japanese yen. We've got the BOJ outlook and monetary policy, as well as the BOJ press conference. So that's just Bank of Japan, Bank of Canada, and ideally we're going to see a lot of volatility on dollar CAD and dollar yen this week. So that could be in the follow through with dollar index, which we'll get to in just a second. And then looking at Thursday, we have some Euro medium impact news for a London session. And then dollar index 8:30 a.m. core durable goods, and we'll likely see a good bit of volatility here on Thursday for New York session, and then as well for Friday we have advanced GDP and the price index here, which is 8:30 a.m. New York time, and we'll likely see a continuation or a follow through on Friday as well. So no NFP, no FOMC this week, so that's good. We know that we have the likelihood of high probability setups in direct relation to the upcoming high impact and medium impact news releases. So with that being said, let's go ahead, we'll move over into the charts and get started with the actual technical portion of this video. So looking at dollar index, we still have this triple top up here, which is a lot of daily liquidity, and that is what we're looking for and what we've been looking for weeks now. We want to see dollar index continue above 97.70, and if you look here on Thursday, on April 18th, we had a nice push up on dollar index, which is a good thing. This is a good sign in terms of bullishness to the upside. And if you look, we had really tight kind of daily candles in here, and then we had a nice explosive move to the upside. So we've got a low that cleared out previous swing low here, ran all the way back up, came back down, failed to hit the ICT bullish order block here, but nonetheless we formed a low and then we broke back above that. So going into this week, a few things I'm watching is we have this last down candle here, as well as this down candle here. So the high on this is 97.18. And you guys want to mark these levels up on your charts as well, and just turn the visibility on, and we want to do 4 hours for this, and then we also want to do the same for this one. Basically all we're doing here is just allowing these lines to be shown on all time frames below the daily. So the high on this one is 97.12. Perfect. And we just want to change this to blue because we want to know its support. Alright, perfect. So what we're looking at now is I want to see if dollar index can trade. Obviously we're looking for an upside expansion, but Monday we could see a dip down into either of these levels here, right? So it doesn't matter which one it is, but ideally we would like to see the market find some level of support in between 97.12 and 97.18. So if you round that to like the zero levels, then we're looking for 97.10 to 97.20. But ideally, if we're going to remain higher, then we really shouldn't break below this down candle. Okay, so we can actually draw a horizontal line on, actually no, it's not a horizontal line. We want to do a horizontal ray on this low, which is 96.75. So ideally, if we're going to push up and continue above 97.70, this daily triple top, we should not break below this daily low. That is going to be the ideal situation in terms of what we're looking for to unfold in price action. Now these levels, we should see the market have a bounce and we should see some support. So again, it doesn't matter whether it's 96.18 or 97.18 or 97.12. Either one of those levels should act as support In the ideal scenario, I'd like to see 97.18. It doesn't necessarily have to come down into this, but it could with a wick, for example, so we could see it wick into that and then find some support and start, pushing up from there. But I want to see this occur early on in the week, right? Otherwise, we're just going to, continue pushing up higher, and there will be no real need to trade lower. But in terms of any downside, we should see support found at either one of these levels. And again, for bullish, we do not want to see this low here broken. If that breaks, then we could move back into a longer term consolidation, as well as dip back down into this daily bullish order block here. But I don't really see that happening, especially with all the liquidity that we have built up above here. We've got liquidity built up above these highs at 97.50. So in my eyes, we just have nothing but upside on dollar index as of right now in current market price. So I'm going to delete these because we already know that we're expecting support to come in there. And we're looking for a follow through on dollar index. So with that said, we're looking for higher prices on dollar index, which means we should see weakness on foreign currency. All right. So if we move into euro, you guys can see here on the euro dollar chart, we had this ICT bearish order block marked out here. And notice the amount of time it spent within here, right? It continued to wick through here, wick through here, wick through here, wick through here. But look at the bodies. All of the bodies never closed above the ICT bearish order block, which is a good sign in terms of bearish market structure, right? So the bodies of the candle respected that. We had this last down candle, which if the market was going to go higher, we should have seen support here. We failed to do that and broke right below it. So that indicates further weakness. We've got relative equal lows here at 1180. And then if we scroll out even further, we've got these equal lows back here at 110. All right, so we're really looking for nothing but lower prices on euro dollar, which is perfect in line with our bullish dollar index stance. So going into this week, what we could see in terms of any upside, right, because we're looking at dollar index, we could see a little bit of downside for the initial start of the week. And if that's the case, we have our levels marked out, and then we're doing the same here for euro dollar. So any upside that we see for the week should be basically stopped at either one of these levels. So we have this low at 1249.9, which is basically 1250. And we can copy that, put it here. And then we have this low here, which is at 1278. So we could just keep it here at 1280. That's perfect. All right, awesome. So in terms of any upside on euro dollar, we could either see it trade up into this level, which we basically almost did here on Friday, or we're going to see it trade up into these levels. Now, we're not doing anything until one of these levels is hit. Once they're hit, then we're looking for bearish price action, and then we're looking to go short. All right. If we just start out the gate and we start trading lower, then that's fine. We'll use a lower time frame to get in sync with what the market's doing. But from a daily perspective, this is what I'm looking at. So if we see the market trade up into here, I'm looking for bearish price action. I'm selling it. If we trade up above here, then I'm looking for bearish price action here, and I'm selling it. Right? So whichever level the bearish price action occurs, that's where I'm going to go short, and that's where I'll be targeting the equal lows on the downside, and then the longer term objective down there at 111s and 110s as we mentioned before. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking for in terms of a downside objective. So make sure you have these two levels on your chart, 1.1250, 1.1280. That's going to be, significant turning points in my opinion in the market. We have everything in place to go lower now. There's no reason that this market should come back up. We do have relative equal highs here, but based on the fact that we had just such a bearish day here, closed below this, in my opinion, we should see a continuation lower. So it doesn't necessarily have to come all the way back up to 1280. We can really just work within 1.1250 here, sell off from there. That would be the ideal situation. So those of you in the premium, those of you in the premium group, you guys will get my signal as soon as I go short on this currency pair. And if those of you watching this want to join that specific group, then the link will be the first link in the description below. But we will be looking for 1.1250 and 1.1280 in terms of our objectives to go short for euro dollar, and then we'll be targeting lower prices on that. All right, now looking at British pound, we mentioned last week 1.30 big figure. We've got a lot of liquidity resting below there. You guys can see here on April 18th, again that same Thursday, we had the willingness to close below that. So I'm looking for a continuation lower from here. Honestly, we're just retesting the level now. So the fact that we've basically opened up on Friday, traded higher, retested that level, I'm potentially expecting a gap down, when the market opens up. So we could see a gap down, and this thing could easily just start trading lower. I'm expecting a decent bearish week on British pound as well. So when we get to euro dollar, euro GBP, this will make more sense, but I'm looking for a continuation on euro dollar as well as a continuation lower on British pound. Now we have this ICT daily bullish order block here, so these last two down candles before this explosive run up to 1.33s. And in terms of a downside objective, this is what I'm looking for first. So we have 1.29 big figure, roughly 100 pips from where we're at now. That'll be my first target on the daily objective to the downside. Now once we get into that, obviously we have to watch and see, are we getting any type of bullish price action, but I'm not expecting it to basically react from there and go all the way back up. We could just trade back up into some level of an ICT bearish order block in this range here, and then we could see a further continuation here. So for example, if you miss the initial move here, where'd it go? So if you miss the initial move here, then obviously what you want to wait for the market to do is trade lower, and then we could tap into this. They will obviously find some level of support here. They're not going to, in my opinion, they shouldn't find enough support to start breaking higher highs, but we could easily come back up into a bearish order block in here, and then that can be another shorting opportunity in this area, and then you can look for your objective to go below this ICT bullish order block down here. And then if we get a continuation, we've got a little pocket of liquidity below here at the 1.25s, which is much longer term. Obviously, we have to see what British pound does, but in terms of the near term, what I'm looking for is 1.29 big figure, and I think we have everything in place to do that now. So looking for a further continuation to the downside on British pound here. And in terms of anything on the upside, there's really nothing that I'm looking at. Obviously, as I mentioned, we broke below 1.30 big figure. We retested that level on Friday, so honestly, I just want to see continued expansion to the downside from there. Alright, now looking at Euro GBP, you guys can see this thing is in a pretty tight consolidation overall. So with that being said, obviously I mentioned that we're looking for weaker prices on both British pound and euro dollar, right, with the objective of higher prices on dollar index. Now this is in a consolidation, relatively tight consolidation in terms of pips. We're working within about a 200 pip range. Okay, so we're just trapped in this consolidation back and forth, back and forth. Now, if this stays in the consolidation, which is honestly what I'm seeing, right? I don't see any willingness for it to want to just explosively trade higher, explosively trade lower. I think it's just going to continue working the consolidation because we've already had a pretty nice down move and then a continuation on the down move here. So Euro and British pound are both going to be looking to catch up with that initially. And I'm looking for lower prices on those two with the expectation that this sits in a consolidation as dollar index trades higher. And that will basically point to, relative weaker prices in both euro and British pound. So we should see a lot of expansion to the downside in both of those pairs, in my opinion. So euro GBP expecting more so just a continued consolidation for that. All right, and dollar CAD. So this one here, obviously we mentioned in the economic calendar here, we've got a lot of Canadian dollar news on Wednesday. So I'm expecting them to use that as nothing but volatility to explosively take this thing to the upside, right? So if you look at the amount of time that we spent within this two down candles that we mentioned last week, which is an ICT bullish order block, last two down candles before a nice run up, we've been working inside of that, Now look at the bodies of the candles here. See the bodies of the candles? We had a nice long wick here, cleared out any liquidity resting below the market. Market then opened up, explosively traded higher, bodies of the candles respecting the top of the ICT bullish order block here, and then we're looking for a further continuation. So on the 19th, Friday, we had a nice little pop up again, not breaking any higher highs or anything like that, but going into this week, I'm looking for explosive runs up to the upside on dollar CAD. We've got liquidity resting above 1.34 big figure, so we're only about 10 pips away from that. We've got liquidity resting above here at 34.50. We've got liquidity resting above here at 34.70. And then we've got a higher time frame ICT daily bearish order block here at 35.60. So in terms of where we're at now, we could easily see over 100 pips to the upside on dollar CAD this week. So this will be a beautiful setup in my opinion, and it's looking really nice. this is going to be my primary focus for the week, right? Going long dollar CAD with the expectations of higher prices. Now, looking at this right now, if you guys are swing trading it or anything like that, you basically could buy it anywhere, where it's at right now, and just place your stop loss below this 1.33 big figure. Ideally, if we're bullish, we should not come back below here. Now, for me and my style of trading, I'm going to have to go down to a lower time frame chart. So if we look at a 4-hour, you guys can see consolidation. We're really getting nothing in here. Now, one thing to consider is we had this initial low. Market came after making a higher high here, right? So we had the market come all the way down, right? Failed to break this low, came all the way up, took out the liquidity above here, then we came all the way back down, took out the liquidity below here, right there, and then we also took out the liquidity below here. So all of the liquidity on the downside has now been taken out. So what are they going to be looking for? They're going to be looking to take price up and clear out the liquidity above the market now, because look at what we got here as well. Right, we've got these equal highs. Right, so the market is going to want to run above that, and that's 34 big figure, also big figure level. So there's a lot of things just pointing to nothing but upside objectives for dollar CAD. So that is basically my reasoning for this week on being very bullish on dollar CAD. Now, there's nothing on the 4-hour here that I see as a potential buying opportunity, so we're going to move down to an hourly. And even in here, right, there's really nothing that I see as of yet that I want to be a buyer on in terms of an ICT bullish order block or anything like that. But here's basically the scenario I'm looking for. If we get a run up early on in the week, right, we close above 1.34 big figure, there will be some level of an ICT bullish order block formed in this area. Maybe this is it here, this down candle, I don't know. Maybe there's a new down candle that forms, I'm not sure. Once we get that, I'm going to wait for the market to trade back into it, and then at that point, I'm going to buy it and look for higher prices from there. Right, so any point that the market runs away, it's going to leave an ICT bullish order block in that area. This will be my opportunity to be a buyer, right? So there's nothing, unless you're swing trading it, you can buy it right now. But I'm looking for mainly like day trades, intraday trades, short-term trades, and for that, I need a run up, right? Which is going to prove to me that it's broken market structure, right? It's got out of the consolidation, and then there will be a perfect ICT bullish order block somewhere in that area, right? Again, maybe this is it here, maybe it forms a new down candle. I don't know where it's going to be yet, but I'm looking for it to run away, come back, dip down into that, and then just as an example, if you drew your fib on this, right? Say this is the low, say that's the high it goes up to right here, right? Obviously, we don't have the candles formed yet, so we don't know what it'll be. But if this is the case, look what it would do. It would drop right into the fib level, 61.8, 70.5, 79%. Anywheres within that level will be an optimal buying opportunity, and then we can place our stop loss below Friday's low here, and then as the market runs up, it makes a new higher high. So as we get this movement, we can trail our stop loss right below here, and if this is the exact scenario that happens, we can trail our stop loss right below 33.80. Right, so that will be the ideal situation for me, and that's how I plan to go long on dollar CAD. So really just waiting for that. I think we'll honestly have that relatively soon, as we start off the week. So Monday, Tuesday, we may get that expansion up, and then, for example, like going into Wednesday, we may see it drop lower. We may see it drop lower right before the news event. I don't know when it's going to actually occur, but be looking and have on your calendar that Wednesday, New York session will likely see a big expansion to the upside on dollar CAD. So that will be my primary focus for this week again. And yeah, that's really it. That's everything I'm looking at in the charts right now. And hopefully this video helped you guys out. Let me reset this price scale. And if you have any questions, just drop a comment below this video. But that is it. And Premium Group, I will talk with you on Wednesday in the Daily Technicals. And those of you watching this on YouTube, I will talk with you next week on Sunday for the weekly technicals. So talk with you guys then, and have a good trading week.